We're going to talk and discuss as a state and see where we want to go with our movement, what we can all agree on. We got some proposals. The General Assembly is a form that we never see anymore in our government. It is the people talking, the people making decisions. We vote, we discuss, and we vote things out too. But it's never seen in our government anymore. Our government's owned by the rich, and they don't really care about any of us.
Real democracy.
It's real democracy, yeah. Thank you, Loki.
No problem.
But yeah, if everybody can gather in, and maybe we can use one voice so we can make this event productive.
You want to introduce Kelly up?
I don't think she's a lot close, man. Everybody eat. I like how they've got a brat fry over there.
Yeah.
And we got free food over here.
Everybody eat.
Are we doing the GA? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
Kelly asked me to try to organize everybody in. So.
Okay, alright.
Yeah, so.
Do you still want my help facilitating and stuff? Or how do you
It's Kelly's. You're going to have to ask Kelly.
Okay. Okay. Oh, thanks. Okay.
Jennifer's still here.
Hi everyone, my name is Kelly and I'm from St. Croix Falls. Hi, nice to meet everybody. We're going to start out with our first state GA we've ever had. We're very excited about it. Woo! Finally. What we've done, and I'm going to kind of go over the first two topics so we can think about this. And there's a lot of directions people or questions or ideas they may have. The first, and we're going to take a lot of time and just discuss what we want to do as a state. We have a lot of different occupied cities here, so it's going to be very important for us to figure out what's going to work for all of us. And a lot of it is about political and government change, and when we talk about that, it's a big picture. So in order to get down to the nitty-gritty and what we really want to do, we've got to kind of say, okay, in the big picture of political or government change or challenges, what do we want to do if we want to do anything? The two questions that we came up with is, one, do we want to work on changing certain areas in the broken system to create fair voting and representation? That's one. The other one is, are we strong enough to make a statement as a movement outside of the two-party system in the political arena? So those are two big spectrums, but they kind of break down to what do we want to focus on as a state? Where do we want to go? And some people believe we can't work within the system, and some people believe we can. So do we even want to work on that as a state? Is that something everybody wants to do? Does anybody have an opinion on any of that I've said right now?
Two-party system has sold us all out.
The two-party system has sold us all out.
Yep.
Okay, a lot of times, now when we went down to the Midwest, the twinkle fingers up and the twinkle fingers down if you don't like something kind of gives us an idea of the vibe we're going in, if we're going to go with it. Is there anything you want to add to that, Danielle?
Yeah, real quick.
Hey, so the people who are participating, I see a really nice group of people around here. If we can bring everybody else kind of in a little closer, just because that way we can make this meeting go a little bit easier. Me, Kelly, Brian over here from Wisconsin Bail Out the People's Movement, and Joe Brusky from Occupy River West, we're going to be moderating this. So this means I agree, right?
Yep, I agree.
I agree. I don't really like this one as much, but some occupies do. I disagree. So if you guys want to use that, you can. What else? One voice, like this. If we hear people talking, we'll say one voice. Okay. This means like this. You're getting repetitive. Wrap it up. That kind of a thing, And if we start doing that, the moderators will notice that. Point of order. Oh, go ahead. Direct response. Direct response. So if someone's saying something that you want to directly respond to right away, you can go like this, and we'll call on you to say that. Okay? Go ahead.
Direct response is only used to answer direct questions.
Yeah, direct response is only used to answer direct questions, not to start an argument between two people on the floor. Just to point that out.
Okay, back to political and government change. And I'm going to go back to the first question now that we kind of know the arena that we're talking about, and it's a big picture that we want to break down. And we have a lot of different cities represented here. Tony, do you have a question? Okay, yeah, let's do stack.
Real quick before we get into it, I forgot to mention stack. I'm going to be taking stack, so if you have something to say on a subject, Put up your hand. I'll remember who you are, and it will go in order.
So if we get multiple questions, that's how we'll answer it with staff. Okay, so the first question is, do we work on changing certain areas in the broken system to create fair voting and representation or other issues? Is there anybody want to talk about that? And your name?
My name is Jane.
Hi, Jane.
Hi, I'm from Fond du Lac, and this is wonderful to see everybody here. And I think that in answer to that first question, we are working within the system right now. I don't like the system the way it is. I don't like two-party power, but that is the way it is. So rather than just leave the room and not be part of the process, we need to do things like be here today. This is chipping away. And the two parties that we have, they're very different. If you look at the platform of each party, the Republican Party is all about me, me, me. The Democratic Party is not great. It's got human people in there that are just as corrupt as anybody else. But at least their platform intends to do the right thing and include and be socially just. And so we've got those two choices. And if we can influence the Democratic Party to get back to its more progressive side rather than its corporate fascist side, we are working within the system and yet trying to make a change anyway. And the first thing that we can do is vote Tuesday, and then vote next Tuesday, and then vote in November. And keep a Democrat in there, because without it, since we had Bush in 2000, my nation doesn't even look like my nation. And I've been protesting since 1969 in one form or another. And this is the first time in this past year or so since Occupy that I feel good again. So just showing up here is good for everybody. Bring 3 more people next time.
Oh, thank you very much. Tony, you're on stack. You're next.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that as an Occupy movement, there's a grassroots movement. And our politicians, Republicans and Democrats alike, are constantly selling us out. Obama, okay, we need a Democrat in there, and right now Obama might be the best we have. But let's just keep in mind that Obama signed the NDAA. Yep. Obama signed the HR 347. Obama extended the Patriot Act. The Democrats, they're the best friends we have now, but the two-party system is not working for us. Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to throw that out there because it's bought out one way or another by both parties. Whether it's. I just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you.
Kaz, you're on stack.
Point of order in relation to what he's saying.
I'm sorry, sir. You'll be on stack after Kaz. Kaz is next, and you're next.
I just want to say I agree strongly with what the brother said, and my point would be that we don't have to endorse or support politicians formally to make a point about the issues. And I think the purity of the Occupy movement is that we're purely on the issues, and that we should have the confidence to be able to criticize Democrats, Republicans, or whatever if they're not in support of people's movements. That doesn't mean that electoral politics aren't a realm of the people's struggle. We can vote, and we should vote, because a very good friend of mine said that the only thing more worthless than voting is not voting. Woo! So make sure you get out there and vote, but remember the issues come first.
Yeah, in regards to both parties, we've got 500 and some politicians in Washington, and there's something like 2,500 lobbyists. That's 5 for every politician in Congress. So do you think maybe they're bought off? Republican, Democrat, them ain't different. They're all bought off. Most of the Republicans are bought off by the oil. And I'll admit, I think Republicans are even worse than Democrats, but I'm not sure if any of them are friends. But yeah, I'll vote Democrat, because it's the lesser of the evils.
Okay.
They are all bought off.
On stack.
I agree that money plays too big of a role, which is why Feingold and McCain tried to get some foot in the door with campaign finance reform, 12 years ago, and it didn't really do anything. But we have to keep going that way. We have to keep going that way. And I understand about being on the outside, but it's the inside guys who say whether or not we have Badger Care, and who say whether or not we have health care for everybody, and who say whether or not we have Head Start, and who say whether or not we have subsidized housing. Those people that are elected are the ones who run our lives. So as much as we can take our outside progressive ideas and vote, because however much money the corporations have, they don't have our votes. Our votes are still stronger than the dollars are. We just have to show up. If everybody showed up and voted, the bad guys wouldn't have a chance.
Okay, we're going to take two more. David is first, and then you're on stack, and then we're going to stop this conversation and move on to the next. David?
Right. Well, I have to disagree totally with any of this Democrat-Republican stuff. The major problem that we have in every election, and I've been here for a while, I've been voting since I've been 18, 21, whatever the hell it was at that moment. But ever since I started voting, I hear the same rhetoric about voting for the lesser of two evils. And the entire problem that we're having here is that we're not voting for somebody else. We shouldn't have to vote for a Democrat or Republican that does not meet what the people's needs are. None of these people we're voting for, Obama, I don't care, Romney, I mean, yeah, there's a level there, but Romney's definitely worse than probably Obama, but Obama is still as far over as what he is, If you look at the direction of this entire country in the last 40 years, it's gone so right-wing that it's not even anywhere near what it was. So in my mind, what we need to be doing is, if you're going to work within the system, which I don't believe is the way to go, quite frankly, but if you are going to try to work within the system, you need to get people that support what you want, what the people want, not what any of these corporations want. So you have to start, it's a grassroots stuff, but you need to find like her or him or somebody that can step up and take the lead and make the changes within ourselves, not within what these other people are forcing us into. I mean, that's just how I feel about that.
Thank you, David. Okay, and one more, and then we're going to move on in a minute.
Yeah, I'm wearing a button that I wore on my work hat for about 20, 25 years. This button says what we're all here about. If the people lead, the leaders will follow. And that's what we're all here about now. We're going to make them lead. I don't care if they're Republican, if they're Democrat, if they're Green Party. If the people put their foot down and stand up and fight back, those people will respond as long as this is still America.
Yeah. Wonderful.
How can we do it when guys like Tom Hooper with his little girlfriend sitting at they get off of anything?
Okay.
There is no law. The Republicans rule it.
Okay, very good question. I wanted to kind of get a vibe check, and we've got a lot of ideas going out there, and it sounds like we have a lot of thought of working out of the two-party system, but we all know we want to keep pushing and make sure that there's a change. Am I correct in saying that we need to vote, we need to keep doing what we're doing, but as a state, do we want to work on stuff outside of the two-party system and create what's right?
There is no vote unless the judge.
Okay.
All right, brother. All right, let her speak.
There is no vote.
One voice and have one voice.
All right.
All right, so it looks like
The Supreme Court is run by an idiot.
if you'd like to get on stack, we would love for you to get on stack, sir. We have a lot of questions and answers. We'd really appreciate it. Thank
You
you.
think Roberts is put in by Bush?
Yeah.
What do you got? Get a brain on you. There is no law.
Thank you, sir. So by that feeling, it sounds like maybe as a state we want to look at what else we can do outside of the two-party system while we vote and support what we've got going on now with the recall election and the people we're standing by. Am I correct in saying that? Yeah. All right.
All right.
All right. As a state, that is something we will work together at what we're going to do outside of the two-party system and what direction we are going to go in to help the people keep the power. Next question. And that proposed want to be okay, so we're gonna work outside of the two-party system. Are we? This was. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Peter.
I just want to say right now until June 5th, the number one thing right now that should be on our mind is Scott Walker.
Agreed. And just so we make it clear, we understand that we're the only state around going through something that's so important and historical, and obviously it is about
That's
Walker.
the number one most important thing.
And as Peter says, it is the number one thing, and we do as people need to focus on that right now. we're gearing up for after this, so we don't get ourselves in this position again. I think is the big key, and what we can do as people to move forward. So, yes, absolutely, Wisconsin's very important right now. Is there anything you want to say or talk about? Talk about the voting.
Okay, so the next question we have is, are we strong enough to make a statement as a movement outside the two-party system in the political arena? Well, I think we proved that today. What do you think? Yeah? All right. Okay, we're going to need a lot more people, but I'll tell you what, I grew up in northeastern Wisconsin, and this is absolutely phenomenal. So I think we got a great start here in Fond du Lac today. So, but then the points below that are, the consensus is that, are we strong enough to make a statement? The answer is yes, but then we have challenges. Does our state want that to be a part of what Occupy concentrates on? Okay, we already talked about this.
I have a question.
Okay.
I want to pose a question to everyone because he brought up the recall, and that's really important, you know, especially when we're talking about Occupy and where we fit with the recall. The recall's about a month away, so we need to be thinking about what are we going to be doing as Occupy for the recall, and I just want to throw that question out. You, and I see you, but
I hope that students realize, or close to students realize, is that 28-day rule is in effect. So if you're in school right now and you vote next week and you go home and try to vote in the recall election, you will not be able to vote at home. You have to get an absentee ballot. And so for people to get that word out would be a really important task of Occupy.
Tony?
Yeah, I just think that, we're all big boys and girls, and we got brains in our heads, and when we go to the voting booth, we all know what we have to do. Kicking a governor out is not being part of the two-party system, it's being enacted to fix it, and it's historic, and we're all big boys and girls, we know what to do in the voting booth, so I just wanted to say that.
On that note,
What about the John Doe investigation?
Yeah.
Got everybody around him that's going
Yes.
to jail.
Yeah. Yes.
He go to jail, looks like Richard Nixon to me.
There you go. I completely lost what my train of thought was. It was about the state. Oh.
Just a real quick point about that is that the FBI and other repressive state agencies are running that John Doe investigation. So you have to understand that if Walker is going to be tried, or any politician that's going to be tried, it should be coming from the people, not from the repressive state agencies that are ones who are, look, we got people here today whose members of their own organizations are raided by the FBI, and they're the problem. So I just wanted to raise that as well, that we're focusing on the right people and what we're doing in the movement.
One thing to do ahead of this election and all the way through November is work with organizations that are trying to get the vote out. And make sure we've done all we can, because last November when the Republicans took over all these state houses, it was because of people on the progressive and the liberal side being apathetic and not getting out to vote. That's the reason they won. Everybody stayed home thinking, it's not that big of a deal, it's not a presidential election. Every election in our near future is going to be very, very important, because the other side is working harder, or as hard as they're working hard, and we got to work harder. We got to get everybody who believes like we believe that America needs a better change of direction and everything. We got to get them out to vote. If you know old people that need ID or need to get to the polls, offer to help. Get everybody we can. Not for this one, but by November they might. So work hard to get the vote out. That's a very important step. And then after the election, work hard to nail the politicians that win to the right course of action.
all right, I got two more on stack, and then I think we're going to cut stack here. So I got Jacob and then you.
In Milwaukee, Occupy, obviously, just like Occupy all over the state, we've been fighting against Scott Walker, and but we've also been fighting against Tom Barrett for years. We fought Walker and Barrett together when they were working together to do cuts against transit. 20% of our transit was cut under Walker and Barrett. We've been fighting Barrett 69% of Milwaukeeans voted for an ordinance called paid sick days, which would give 9 mandatory paid sick days. 69% of the population voted for it, and Barrett, see, I get them confused so easily. Barrett was sided with the MMAC, which is like the 1% of Milwaukee, to overturn the popular vote. He's taken Walker's attacks on collective bargaining and ran with it so he can continue use that legislation to deepen his attacks on public workers in Milwaukee. So, I mean, what we're calling for in Milwaukee, we're actually calling for a mass mobilization on June 6th, the day after the election, win or lose. If Walker wins, there's going to be a day of fury and rage, and we're going to be out in the streets. And we want to get the unions and everyone out there. And if Barrett wins, we're going to still go out there. And if Barrett wins, we're going to go out there and we're going to hold him accountable, because people in Milwaukee are pissed off at Barrett. People in Milwaukee, they're not even excited to vote for Barrett. It's going to be difficult to vote for Barrett. But basically, we want to vote. It'll be a victory to vote Walker out. It'll be a huge victory to vote Walker out. But what we need is a mass popular movement. We need people out in the streets.
You go ahead. Excuse me, sir. This woman is on stack.
I just wanted to say that I think that Occupy in Wisconsin right now has a challenge in front of us, because part of the Occupy movement is about how the two-party system has failed us. So the government system, the economic system, how it all ties in. We have the recall Walker going on right now. So I think Occupy has to be very careful about publicly endorsing any one candidate. The nation's watching. And so if we make the mistake of standing behind one or another party, the nation's going to see that, and questions are going to rise up from that as far as, what happened to fighting against the two-party system, etc. So from my perspective, I think trying to keep the two separate publicly as much as possible, while still pushing for people to get out there and vote, I think is an important step without actually publicly coming out and endorsing a candidate as a.
Very good point, Jenny. Thank you. And on that note, I think talking about us as a state as a whole and offering representation as a state with groups from the occupied city. Are people interested in their cities to make a state group that works outside of the two-party system and see what we can do nationally? And if occupied cities are willing and would like to do that at all, and have some type of a group that can help go regionally and nationally and work on these types of things? Is there, Jim, you first?
Just talk about language that's used. Everybody's talking about a two-party system. People have a favorable attitude towards the word system. I like to talk about two-party dominance, because what they've done is they've dominated the representation in our government, and obviously most people here are not real favorable towards that. So you'd like to see third parties and independents. So whenever you talk about the Republicans and the Democrats, talk about the two-party dominance. And I take it farther. I don't even talk about political parties. I talk about political gangs. Because gangs protect the turf, they defend the members of their group over above the public at large, and the political parties operate like political gangs. So at least don't use system, and if you can, use political gang when you talk about that.
One of the ways that a lot of the Republicans especially have taken so much dominance is they run for these little unknown offices, school boards, township boards, city boards, county boards. They may not sound very important, but go to a township board meeting, and almost every damn one of them is a Republican, a lot of these born-agains and whatever, and they throw out their agendas and you might say, well, township board doesn't mean much, but when you got that going all across the country, that's how they built themselves. They were smart. They worked hard to do that kind of stuff. We got to do the same thing. You don't have to be a Republican or Democrat to run for those sorts of things. And if you want to run for a school board or a town board or township board or something, get people. Yeah, we need to get involved at that level and go up. That's what they did, and they've been doing it for years, and that's why they're so damn strong now. They run everything.
One voice. Thank you so much. Are you finished, sir?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, thank you so much. So, we're moving on to the next thing. Okay. So what we're thinking about doing, and show me vibe check once I put this out there. We have a few different issues that we want to get as a state endorsed and supported. So we're going to move forward with some of those things. Give me one quick second. This is related to the.
Okay, what's going to go on now is we're going to go for state endorsements, and we have some items we want to bring up, projects cities have worked on, and get the endorsements right here, and then people, after we're done with this next half hour of doing endorsements and what we will as a state endorse, people can come up and ask or state a question or look for an endorsement on a state level, so that's the idea. And we're going to start off with the Penokee Hills. I have the Penokee Hills, it's the Penokee Mines, and going forward, working with the Riverband tribe and, bad Riverband, sorry. It's up in Ashland, and what's going on is they're trying to create mines up there. It was I think it was AB 24 bill that didn't pass, and it kind of put back on the back burner, and we thought it was going away. But it sounds like from the groups, and I don't have deep knowledge of it, and Jim left now, that it sounds like this is coming back up, and it's going to be something that we need to, if we as a state would like to keep helping the indigenous people and the people who live up in Ashland with their plea on water and keeping it safe with the mines. So if we could get a twinkle fingers up, if everybody would like to endorse that as a state, beautiful. I'm sure there'll be any is there anybody in disagreement? Yes, sir.
How many jobs is it going to create? And
Can I answer that question first? Because actually that's a really good question, because a lot of the mainstream media is saying it's creating a lot of jobs. The statistics, we have a group on Facebook, and it ends up being like 400 jobs or something. It ends up being really little compared to what they said it really was. And don't quote me on the actual amount, but there is a Facebook group called Citizens Concerned about the Penokee. Well, and it's a great way to learn.
Okay. Another question. So we're not going to be actually having the jobs in our state. Besides that.
Okay, like she said, they're bringing in their own workers, so we wouldn't even be having the jobs. Okay, so we went, can we finish the endorsements first? Okay, so everybody was okay with it, nobody was negative. We can take another 3 or 4 minutes of people wanting to comment on this area, and then we can move on.
Raise your hand for stack again, because I want to take it. All right, I'm going to start with Joe and go this way. Okay.
I was just going to say too, those jobs tend to be boom and bust jobs too, where you have a great job market for 10 years, and then all of a sudden the city is just completely lapped and decimated once the company pulls out of the town. So something to think about as well.
With you.
And then what happens next, you just took the words out of my mouth, the next thing that happens is that they've destroyed a lot of jobs that were already there, resorts and tourist type stuff, because it just totally decimates the environment when you have a mine. It was a humongous mine that they wanted to put up there. So not only do you not have that many jobs, it winds up destroying a lot of jobs that were already there anyway. So,
Boomtown.
Yep.
What I was going to say was, what I do with the Autonomous Solidarity Organization is we read the bills, we make sure we get all the basic points out. But with this bill, what we saw was that in paragraph 8, don't remember the line, but it doesn't exactly say that any Wisconsin person is going to get a job, and it does not clarify that anybody will be getting a job, no parents, no nothing. So what it says is that high school students will be trained, but 3 years after we know is all those jobs are taken, obviously. So everybody who is going for this bill doesn't understand that this bill does not bring any jobs.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Who was that? Was Chaos? Was it you?
I don't think a lot of people realize that this was also not a divided line, but something similar. They had us all worried about Penokee Hills. In the meantime, they are a sand factory in western Wisconsin. And I've got a group that we're going to try and get a plane and do some flyovers. Sand factory? That's where they dig up the sand. We're going to try to get a flyover and get pictures of that. So when I get that stuff, we'll put it on Occupy Wisconsin.
I think you were next.
I was just going to say, I mean, I agree with what was said here a couple times. I grew up in the Upper Peninsula, the copper country, and they've had copper mines up there for a multitude of years. They shut them all down in 1964 and moved the operations down to South America. And all those people up there lost their jobs. In fact, I moved down to Wisconsin at that time, 1968, because there was absolutely no work up there. Present time, the unemployment is such the little town of Calumet that had, at one time, around 10,000 people, now they have 870. Per capita income is $15,000 a year. That's pretty far below poverty. They also left the place in a mess. Most of that area is on a Superfund site for over 40 years. It's still not cleaned up. You know, the fish, when I was growing up in high school, the fish had cancer. We couldn't eat fish. So that's the thing you have to look forward to with all this mine up in Penokee Hills. All that runoff is going right into Lake Superior, and it's going to be a terrible mess. And you know, just got to definitely avoid getting that in there.
Thank you so much. Did we have one more person on stack? Was it you?
It's been said.
It's passed? Okay. And Brian's going to introduce the next topic. If it's okay if we move on, can I get a vibe check for moving on? Okay, great. Yeah, this is officially endorsed then. The Penokee Hills issue is officially endorsed by the Occupy Statewide General Assembly.
All right, sisters and brothers, the next proposal is a proposal that Occupy Wisconsin support a campaign to stop foreclosures and evictions and with the demand moratorium now. The concept for this fundamentally also that we go along with that we're proposing is that the concept that housing is a human right, and that there's a couple different things around that we just want to make sure that y'all understand what the proposal actually means in a wording. So stop foreclosures and evictions obviously is direct action and the legal work that needs to be done to keep people in their homes. But the foreclosure epidemic is so huge that we're also asking for y'all to endorse the moratorium, which in the 1930s there was 27 states that passed a moratorium. And what that means is that there will be a moratorium on a state level or a federal level, however we can win it, and that what that means is the banks cannot foreclose on anybody. So we can have a 2, 3, 4 year moratorium, whatever we can win. So the banks cannot foreclose on people. People stay in their homes and neighborhoods are stabilized and not destroyed. So we're proposing that the Occupy Wisconsin take up a campaign, the ones that are already happening, Wisconsin Bailout People, there's many other happening in the Midwest, but that Occupy Wisconsin supports and endorses a stop foreclosure and eviction campaign, and that with the twin demand of a moratorium now in the state of Wisconsin and federally. So that's the proposal.
Woo! Any disagreement? Any discussion? I'm going to hand out this blowhorn because we can't hear you up here.
No, I think everybody can probably hear me. I'm just curious on how we get this started and how we organize for this.
And just so everybody knows, what we'll do is after we have these endorsements, and we'll talk a little bit more in the last half hour about making, and that's what I was bringing up, the state group. If we can take a person or a couple people from each occupied city that deals directly with state issues, and I guess since I'm here, is everybody okay with trying to work on doing that within their occupied cities? Is that something we can endorse? Ooh, any disagreement? All right, and that would answer that question, and then we'll get in those groups, and those people will deal with the state issues is the idea. So we've officially endorsed that as a state, we're going to go ahead and get people from each occupied city to represent that group on state level issues to help make the process flow and get the communication going. Yay, great job, everybody. Somebody else had a discussion?
You did? Okay. So is the next thing endorsements?
Well,
But these people that are being thrown out of their homes, they flipping, they were flipping homes and they're acting like they were poor and all they were doing was just
As Kelly just said, when we get in the working groups, we're going to explain more in depth on that. But it's a huge issue, yeah.
I don't feel sorry for them.
Can I answer that question? It's not the homemakers that are being foreclosed, it's the home buyers. People that bought the house.
Sir? Sir? Sir, we really appreciate you. Can we have you go on stack and ask questions so we can keep the meeting going? We really appreciate that. Thank you. I wanted to step back, and at the beginning we talked about working outside of the two-party system, and we didn't actually see if everybody was in agreement or not. So to officially endorse, if that's what we're going to do, is work on expanding outside of the two-party system and see our two-party dominance. Dominance, Kelly, get it right. And see where we can go as a state on that. Can I get a all right. Is there any disagreement? All right, as a state, we're going to work on the two-party dominance out. Oh, Loki?
I think the first step we should be doing is Jim's idea. We should try to get voting.
All right.
Hello. Alright, voting reform that Jim was speaking on earlier today. We should, that's how we should be pushing forward to get the two-party dominance that represent the people itself. Is reform to the voting system. That was quite interesting.
Kind of reform.
Yes. It's not a question, it's a proposal that we move forward with that.
Yeah. Yeah, just introduce some of the
The proposal to move forward with Jim's voting idea of making a working group to petition the Congress and etc.
Okay.
What do you guys think? Vibe check?
Vibe check, all right. Look at this. All right, so we are looking for an endorsement to move forward on the voting that Jim spoke about earlier and make a group to work on that as a state level. And how does everybody feel about that?
I'm inquisitive of how that works, though. I was wondering.
Okay, can I see if there's any disagreements first? Okay, so we have that endorsed. Now, you would like to ask more about how that works? Absolutely. Jim is here. Would you like to ask? There you go.
I had something to add also about how exactly would we kind of break away from the two-party system. Obviously, a lot of people in America consider themselves independent, but then they're either independent, more conservative, and Republican, or independent, more liberal, and more Democrat. And obviously, those are the two main political parties that have any financial backing. But if we all kind of organize and vote for a third party that is calling themselves independent, even though obviously I think that's going to be some significant behind that as well, I think we could finally get some type of political power. So we have something more like Western European countries where the parliamentary republic instead of a two-party system where, let's say, like there's 100 houses and 51 people vote for a certain guy like Republican and 49
Can you wrap it up a little bit? Please.
What is your question? What we should do to make sure that we have at least have like a third party so we can begin to have more of a democratic kind of
Sir?
So your question is, what should we do? It's called organize.
Yeah, and that's a great, sir? That's a great question, and when we have the group, you'll be able to spend hours working on that. That's kind of what the groups are for when you have a state initiative, and maybe that's something you'll be interested in your occupied city, to go ahead and work on that so you can decide what area we should as a state move forward and bring it forward. Beautiful questions, and there's a lot to be answered here. These are just the beginning of what we can do as people to help ourselves. So thank you very, very much. It's really, really appreciated. Oh, I'm sorry. And then Occupy Milwaukee has a lot going on, and with NATO coming up, Occupy Milwaukee has a lot of things they'd like to see about getting endorsements. So we're gonna send the mic over to them and listen to what they have to say.
Well, first of all, this whole time we've been talking about these issues, and I think what he's bringing up is like we need like practical things that we need to be talking about doing to move forward on these issues. So, you know, for what we thought with like designing this GA is we'd have the specific issues that we'd agree as a group to work on, and then go back to our cities and organize in our cities and keep connected over these things. So just to clear up any confusion about that, that's kind of what's going on here. But now we're going to be getting into the part where we're going to be talking about some practical things that actually are going on the ground. And it's not just Occupy Milwaukee. Any occupied city that wants to come up and talk about what they're doing and what they would like support for and things like that is welcome to. And anyone who's not in an Occupy group but has other things that they would like support for will have some time at the end as well to get those things endorsed. But I like to go practical. I like to talk about what are we going to do and how are we going to do it. So I'm going to let Jacob, he's one of my comrades from Occupy Milwaukee, he's going to tell us about our plans for the recall.
All right, well, we haven't had a proposal for a specific action yet, so we've been working on something in Milwaukee. This is my proposal. Whereas Scott Walker is a dick, and whereas Tom Barrett is also a dick, and whereas both the Republican and Democratic parties are tools of the 1%, and whereas the Occupy movement is a movement that's sweeping the country and the world, that's built on mass mobilization and a popular movement in the streets, not dependent on the politicians. Therefore, be it resolved that on June 6th, the day after the elections, win or lose, we're going to be out in the streets at a day of rage to hold the politicians accountable.
All right, that's right.
So that's an official proposal. Can I see vibe check on that? Is there any disagreement to that at all? Any discussion further? Excellent, thanks. And we'll let you know about the details, and if anybody wants to help us organize that and be a part of that.
Will you just say it one more time exactly?
Yes, the exact endorsement is on June 6th. It's kind of a win or lose march. We're going to keep it in the streets is what I want to call it. Keep it in the streets march. So no matter what happens, we're going to hold them accountable. So that's what we just endorsed. It'll be June 6th in Milwaukee. Details to be worked out. Go ahead.
I believe that it should be held in all the occupied cities, not just Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. All the
That's the
cities.
proposal, day of action, yeah, everywhere.
Okay. Yeah. Can we amend that and all agree on that or disagree?
Who should say that again?
Okay. So the amendment is that we have that be a statewide day of action in our separate cities, which I think that's great. Are we good with that? Okay. You disagree? Okay, let's have a discussion over it. Does anybody want to get on staff? Go ahead.
I'm for walking far
Jason?
I guess I have to agree with that. I think we should do it like widespread in as many cities as we can. And
The internet connects us all.
yeah, just we should all live stream it at the same time. We should all endorse each other's and definitely do the shout outs.
Mhm.
If we could get it that popular.
Okay. Okay, let's get this again. So I'm going to say it one more time. We're going to vote one more time.
Got one.
Go ahead.
Why is it going to be in Milwaukee and not like Madison?
Well, that's over
Statewide.
everywhere.
It's everywhere. Yeah. The official proposal is that this would be a statewide day of action. So it would be in Madison, it would be in Milwaukee, it would be in Fond du Lac, it would be in Oshkosh, Appleton. That's the idea.
Because like that's where it's happening.
Yeah.
Why would you have it in Milwaukee? That's the only reason I'm asking.
Yeah. Go ahead.
If you want to get the word out about the day, say the day after the vote,
Yep.
right? Why don't you just go to the voting booth with flyers, and everyone that votes will know. Hold your sign right there at the voting booth saying tomorrow
good
is the day
idea.
of rage.
Yep.
Day of rage.
Yep.
Day of rage. You don't want to vote for the party, but you have to.
In regards to what you're saying, do you have X number of
Well, do we have anything specific?
Yeah. And you know what the thing is that we're gonna be starting kind of an event page and stuff like that, and like a group that can talk about this stuff too, so we can work out the specific details about how we're gonna get the word out, how we're gonna organize everything. And if people wanna like talk to me or something afterwards, so we can kind of organize our contacts and decide how we want to work on this, that'd be great. Go ahead. Huh? We? What do you mean we?
When you say we're gonna get this on our webpage and we're gonna Occupy Milwaukee.
Well, Occupy Milwaukee is going to create a Facebook event for it and probably a Facebook group for it to like talk about it, and we'll probably start over an email list too, like an email thread with all the emails of people that are interested in the organizing. Yeah, well, that's what we are right here. We are Occupy Wisconsin. For Occupy Wisconsin? Mm-hmm. Yep, there's both. And we'll probably post it all together, yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah, just so everybody know that Wisconsin AFL-CIO on June 5th is, I think, going to have a rally in Madison. So we can really go there, and if everybody can go there, bring flyers and flood Madison that day with flyers and if a banner too, like a big Day of Rage banner everywhere all over Wisconsin, whatever. But just to let people know that too, you can go to the Wisconsin AFL-CIO website.
Good. I've been down to Madison a lot since this Walker stuff started, and in Madison at the anti-war rallies in the mid-2000s. And I think that we should all go wherever we can, but that's like preaching to the choir. Go to Madison. We need to be in these redneck cities like my town, like Fond du Lac.
Exactly.
Little cities. St. Croix Falls. Let's go over there.
We need to be
Exactly.
everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And all kinds of people need to be included.
Yep.
That's right.
Agreed. So is there any more discussion on this statewide day of action that Occupy is going to call for June 6th? We agreed to it. Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to say let's promote it by saying 6 plus 6 equals 12. On that day, everyone is equal.
Excellent. That's good. That's really good. Any other discussion on that? I'm going to ask one more time that we get an official endorsement right now. The proposal is a statewide day of action on June 6th for Keep It in the Streets. We're going to hold our politicians accountable. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, the one other thing. Oh, I was just going to do the NATO thing. So we've been talking about this all day. You all know. NATO's coming up on May 20th. There's going to be a national or international Occupy contingent that Occupy Chicago is putting out. Now, I've been talking with them, and they still don't have a specific location that we're meeting up for the contingent, but we will know probably the week beforehand. The buses from Milwaukee will be directing people towards that national Occupy contingent, but we were thinking that we should have a statewide Wisconsin Occupy contingent that joins in with that national Occupy contingent. So that's kind of a proposal for you guys for the statewide General Assembly. What do we think about that?
Remove the war machine.
Yeah. Woo.
Any discussion on it? Any guess?
I would absolutely love to march with all my brothers and sisters across the state. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Any disagreement? No? Okay. Oh, go ahead.
So people from Appleton, Oshkosh, Green Bay, wherever, well, whatever, all of us, we all have to go to Milwaukee.
No, not necessarily. We're gonna know right. Well, we are offering buses from Milwaukee, so if you wanted to, I know Occupy Fond du Lac will be coming down and taking the bus with us, and some people from Madison will be following us with their motorcycles. but if you're coming from somewhere else, that's fine. We're gonna put out through the internet, through all of our Facebook pages now, because we all endorsed it, where exactly we're gonna be meeting in Chicago on that day to start the contingent. So. If you can't hear that, Loki's saying that Occupy Fond du Lac is organizing rides to Milwaukee. So, and if you're interested in the bus to NATO from Milwaukee, please talk to one of my sisters, brothers over here from Occupy Milwaukee. We'll get you signed up on the bus list. Okay, Joe.
Okay, then the next issue we wanted to talk about was an issue that has been in the forefront lately. Student loan debt recently just went over $1 trillion. It just went over credit card debt in this country. So it's ballooned out of control in the last 10 years. So I guess if we want to go for an endorsement on doing some sort of action with student loan debt.
Yes, we're looking for an endorsement. We're looking for an endorsement on the state level for student loans to work going forward with that.
Do you have something phrased? I mean,
Cancel student loans.
well, yeah, cancel.
Well, yeah, I guess one of the ideas that is out there is canceling student loan debt. I know like the interest rates on student loans have been soaring, so I'm sure there's some stuff out there too as far as either reducing the interest rates on loans or finding ways to completely cancel the debt. So, but obviously we don't have anything specific right now. It's just whether or not this is something that we want to, as on a state level, work on.
Is there any disagreements? Is there any discussion?
I think we should focus more on the schools in general. It's not just the money that's funding the schools. It's what they're teaching the children and what morals they're actually teaching the children that they're supposed to live by. Like, say like 20 years ago when you went to ask a child what he wanted to be when he grew up as a doctor or a teacher, now they just want to be Christian and famous. Like, they don't learn that all on their own.
Okay, so that sounds like that could be something maybe we probably could talk about separately. Although it is related, I'm not sure that it's directly related to this issue, but something certainly we can talk about.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then is this the last one as far as? Okay, and then the next one is also something that's been in the news. We're talking about Alec. The American Legislative Exchange Council, which is a group that's been, I don't have to tell everyone here what it is, but so definitely ALEC is a group that really right now is on the ropes because they've had lots of major groups pull out. And so it's a great time, I think, to continue to push on ALEC and try to push them over the edge because a lot of people think that they're very close to being pushed over the edge because there's a lot of attention on what they've done and with all the huge sponsors that they've had pull out of ALEC. I think it would make sense for us to do something on it so we can kind of deliver that final punch on ALEC. So is working against ALEC, is that something that we would like to do on a state level as well? Is there any disagreement on that? Anyone that wants to discuss that?
Talking to it. Talking to it.
One thing that I usually like to tell people about ALEC is that in the Constitution it states that legislation is not to be discussed outside the eyes and ears of the public. And that's what ALEC is doing. Representatives throughout Congress, Democrats and Republicans, have joined ALEC along with many wealthy individuals who go behind closed doors out of the eyes and ears of the public to discuss and promote and write legislation. And that's blatantly unconstitutional. So that's just something that I wanted to throw out there because I like to tell people that. It kind of makes them pay more attention to the seriousness of what ALEC has done and what members of Congress have done. So that was just kind of an FYI.
Go ahead.
Hang on. So, ALEC has got a lot of people pulling out because those are companies like Walmart and Sears and whoever. Well, that's because we shop at those places. Well, I don't shop at Walmart, but anyway, that's what they're doing. See, they're feeling the pinch because when people say, tell Sears, I ain't gonna come here anymore unless you get the hell away from the people, they listen. See, so that's where you have the power to where you spend your money. Don't support those kinds of people that do that stuff. Okay? That's what you can do.
Okay. So yeah, it definitely sounds like, I think the biggest thing with ALEC that, and you were kind of alluded to it, is that what ALEC does is a lot of people say is illegal, that they're really just lobbying, and they actually, I think it came up recently that they don't pay taxes, and that's a big thing, is that if they're lobbying, they should be paying taxes as well on that. So that could be something that we could try to shed the spotlight on as well. Garrett?
Yeah, but Alec is just a symptom of a bigger problem. I mean, it's a system issue, and there are tons of think tanks all around the country that are just like Alec, and just because they diverted money from one, they're putting it right into another one that's not well known yet. And so I guess like my question is like, how is the issue going to be discussed? Is it going to be discussed as an Alec problem or as a system problem?
That's a good question. That's a great question. And since we've endorsed it, maybe the state group can go ahead and decide, take that into consideration, and decide and get back to everybody on that. If there's questions, if that sounds fair.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think also related to that too, I know like in this state, and especially in Milwaukee, we've seen other groups like MacGyver Institute, some of these Education Action Group, Bradley Foundation, some of these groups that are pushing what they call as media or as reporters, and sending people to our events. You know, I think that's something that we could probably talk about at a state level as well. So at some point.
Yeah. I have one last endorsement that I want to work on, and then we're gonna bring it for open mic for you can come up for a couple minutes, seek an endorsement. We'll open the floor for questions for another 2 or 3 minutes and see if we can do that for about a half an hour, because I know we're gonna wait for the Overpass Light Brigade to come here. And my understanding is yes, the Overpass Light Brigade is coming tonight. I have not heard different, so woo! Yes, I'm very excited about that. I'm going to kind of introduce this next endorsement. It's a big thing, at least it was for me, because I didn't think I was political or governmental when I first started doing this. The next endorsement that I want to work on is called the Article 5. That's a big word as far as I'm concerned. I have 2 people, I actually have 3 or 4 people within the state I've been working with over the since November on Article 5, and we've progressed a lot on Article 5 through OWS, through Hawaii, through Oregon. Several states are involved in this. We actually have a website. There's a lot of intricate details that I know I don't have the answers to, but I just want people to know that I felt it's important personally for me to at least try to understand some of it, because it can get really deep. Yep, and I'm going to leave that to the experts, because me trying to explain it, it's about having a convention. I'm better at, it's not my strong point. Loki? Can you explain it, or Jenny, would you please explain? Okay, and we've just so you know, in Wisconsin, we've been working on this, and we really want to push forward with the other states on this, and at least let people understand what it's about, how it works, and for people like me who are just trying to understand the basics of it. And Jenny? Yes, this is Jenny, and I cannot say your occupied city correct.
It's occupied the suburbs of Waukesha County.
So you have for Article 5.
Okay, the Article 5 convention. I know Loki is going around handing out some information about it, just some basics to understand, as well as some contact information. But basically, it was something our founding fathers inserted in the Constitution that kind of gave people and the states power in case the federal government became so corrupt that they needed to be altered and or abolished. So Article 5 basically states that if 2/3 of the states apply to Congress for a convention, then Congress is constitutionally bound to hold one. 2/3 is not a high number, and actually, as of today, 49 out of 50 states have petitioned Congress to hold a convention. They have refused to do so, which has violated the Constitution since they took an oath. Their excuse is that some of these states' applications go back as far as 1901. However, forefathers, being forethinkers, in the Constitution did not put an expiration date on these applications.
So Congress's lame excuse is that these have expired, but there's no expiration date in the Constitution. So there's two lawsuits going on right now. There's one, Walker versus Congress, and one you may have heard about in the media a little bit. There's been a bit of a media blackout about it, is John Geiss versus Congress. And there are two individuals that are basically suing Congress to try and get them to hold this Article 5 convention. Real brief to explain, once the states meet there, the purpose of the convention is to propose amendments to the Constitution. An amendment does require 3/4 of the states to ratify that. So the main one that most states are concerned about, and we are too, is Citizens United, which gave corporations basically limitless power as people. So that's been a big push. So that's in the works right now, and that's what Article 5, the working team is working on, is trying to get the word out, working with the states on this, petitioning Congress, and so on and so forth. And like I said, the information's here, the contact information, Facebook working group. But it's just another way that we can get Congress to do what they're supposed to do and bound to do legally. So are there any questions about that, or?
Anyone interested have a pamphlet on it?
Okay, so what we're looking for is to, as a state, promote what we've been doing in the working group on moving forward with the Article 5 and having the love and support as a state of what we're trying to do. And if there's questions or answers, that's what Loki and Jenny are to help us understand it, because sometimes it's hard for me. I know it's something we need to do, but that's just a personal opinion. But so if I could get a vibe check, if people are okay with moving forward with this. Wow, I'm impressed. And if there's anybody who is not okay with it, okay, Article 5 is endorsed in the state of Wisconsin. Wow. I know Brian has a couple more that he would like to do endorsements, and we're going to open the floor for endorsements after that.
All right, sisters and brothers, I just have two proposals for other endorsements. One of the things that we see here in Wisconsin, especially with the union movement, which has been awesome, but there's sometimes a disconnect between those who happen to be white workers taking up the issues of Black and Latino and other workers and people of color. So these two endorsements are kind of in that theme. Two of the issues that are most affecting the Latino and the Black community. One, the first endorsement is I would like to propose that Occupy Wisconsin endorse Voces de la Frontera's demand and many other immigrant rights organizations' demands around the country to stop raids and deportations of immigrants. Number one, that's the first endorsement. And the second one is justice for Trayvon Martin and all victims of police brutality and vigilante terror in the United States. So the first one and the second one.
All right, yeah, okay.
Okay, so let's do it one by one. So the first proposal, can you say it one more time again, Brian, real quick for us? It's about immigrants.
Stop raids and deportations.
Stop raids and deportations. Can I get a vibe check on that? Is there anyone who disagrees or wants to talk about it? No. Okay. Second one was
Justice for Trayvon Martin.
Oh, the second one was justice for Trayvon Martin and
Justice for Trayvon Martin.
And Bo Morrison as well.
And opposing police brutality and vigilante terror.
Okay, so it's justice for Trayvon Martin and opposing police brutality and vigilante terror. Can I see a vibe check on that? Any disagreement on that? Clarification.
I heard you ask about Bo Morrison.
Mhm.
That wasn't included in the announcement one. Is that intentional?
No, we can add that too.
We could add that in.
Yeah.
What do people? Bo Morrison? He was killed in Slinger, Wisconsin. He was
This local guy.
yeah, the local guy. Mhm. Mhm.
Absolutely.
All right, go ahead.
What exactly do you mean by justice for Trayvon Martin?
Can you explain what you mean by justice?
Making the killers accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus the dude that did it. Yeah. You know. Jeez.
Plus the dude that get rid of
Justice would be I mean, this is a good issue to raise, especially in this forum. Justice would be essentially supporting the demands of Trayvon Martin's family and the black community for self-determination, for what that community deems necessary for justice for Trayvon Martin.
So that would mean things like, for example, bringing Zimmerman to justice, and it also means things like getting rid of the racist vigilante laws like the Castle Doctrine and the Stand Your Ground law and things like that. So that's what we mean by justice. No, it's great. That's a good question.
Related to Alec too.
And yeah, it is all related to Alec. Any other conversation about those issues? That issue? No? Okay, I got Kaz from Occupy Milwaukee wants to talk about FBI.
Hello again. So as many of you have actually already done, we were walking around handing out information and signing folks up for the petitions against in particular Chicano immigrant rights activist, founder of the Brown Berets, Carlos Montes, who is in 10 days going to trial in Los Angeles over trumped-up charges in which the FBI actually encouraged local law enforcement officials in SWAT gear at 5 a.m. in the morning to raid his home in conjunction with anti-war activists who have already had their homes raided in Minneapolis and Chicago and in Michigan. These, especially in the wake of the NDAA, and other basic attacks on civil liberties, we need to stand with prominent anti-war progressive activists, radical revolutionary people, people that are in solidarity with Occupy and with all progressive causes. So I want to ask that we formally endorse and support Carlos Montes in his trial right now in Los Angeles.
Can I get a vibe check on that? Go ahead. Well, there's stop FBI.
Committee to stop FBI repression.
Yeah, this effort is actually led by a national organization called the Committee to Stop FBI Repression. It actually has the endorsement of national teachers associations and massive unions across the country. It's like hundreds of thousands of people have already endorsed this thing. But in particular, what you can do is you could host one of these 23 people that are under federal grand jury potential indictment. You could host educational events about even things as broad as like the NDAA and basic attacks on civil liberties, link it to that. And there's going to be a national call-in day pressuring the district attorney in Los Angeles about Carlos Montes himself. And if any of you guys have seen the HBO movie film Walkout, he's actually one of the characters in that movie. He's a major character from the 1960s and immigrant rights struggles.
Also, if you haven't signed the petition, you can go to stopfbi.net and sign the petition. That's really important. And in case anything further happens, that's going to be the way to get the word out and make sure that we as people power are out there in case anything happens to these 23 activists. So.
And we're going to go ahead and open mic it for all the cities and the people if they have endorsements they want to get through. I'm going to give you an example because I actually have one that I'd like to do myself. And if you want to come line up over here to get in line, and then you can come up and do your endorsements and we'll either like them or not. My name is Kelly. I'm from St. Croix Falls, and I have been working on OccupyWI.org for several months now. We have endorsed communications through state admins, but I have never asked officially if we could get the state website itself endorsed as a state functioning tool for us to use on communications. And I'm here to ask, we've built a lot on it, if everybody would be interested in using what we've built on Occupy WI on a state level to go forward with what we've all been doing here.
When you say using, it just means as almost kind of a brochure or pamphlet with information concerning the stuff that we're trying to do.
Absolutely, we could use it to hold the groups. We could use it to put the transparency of the state group that ends up being formed. There's tools, yeah. There's several. So it's a tool, and as a state, are we okay with that? Vibe check. Everybody's all right with that, or is there any disagreement? Yes, sir.
It's going to be for the state that every city should be
An admin.
Most people don't know how to use it or can't functional.
And on that note, I would absolutely be willing to teach anybody. It's a WordPress site, and we can do that in a state group that's formed, and I'll gladly do a teach-in and teach anybody how to use it and how to write blogs on it. So, absolutely. And I'm going to open the mic. Yes, sir.
Is that going to take the place of using Facebook and all that then too?
No, it's just a statewide tool. It pretty much just it brings everybody together. It's personally been very time consuming. Having people help is actually beautiful because it's a wonderful thing. It really is. So yeah. But we can use it instead of Facebook if we just go away.
Wondering if that was the moving forward with it.
Well, we can't. I mean, I don't know how long Facebook's going to be around. I mean, yeah, we will have that. It will be ours. Nobody can take nobody can take it away from us. So we have something as a state. Yeah. Absolutely, to archive things, yeah. And I'm going to leave it alone because a lot of people have questions. If you could maybe state your name and what city you're from.
So I'm Jessie from Madison. I guess I'm asking for some help. Do I have any high school students here? In Madison, we have a alternative high school. It's called Shabazz, and actually Chaos graduated from there in '83, and we are actually facing a few issues. We have students there that have to go because they either get kicked out of their other high school, they can't function in their other high school, they can't learn anything there. But Shabazz offers a more teacher to student type of information. They teach us about activism and how to act around people, and they get us involved in all of these things. I don't know if any of you have heard of Project Green Team. We go around and help out any type of rivers. We go out to all these reservations and help them build houses. We learn a ton of things. We just have a ton of different trip classes that are very important. But for the last 2 years, the district of Madison has been saying that they are going to close us down. Shabazz is the only high school that is actually going to work for students like me or Chaos. It's the only place that we can go and be able to get our education and what we want out of it. Okay. And if they close us down, there won't be a high school like that. So there's also other issues like students that are going to rehab are getting kicked out of our school because it's not a good enough cause for our principal to give them permission to not be there. So what I'm going to ask you guys is, if I need any help, if we get closed down, or if we keep getting students that are kicked out for no reason, I want to ask if I can get you guys to come down to Madison and stand with the Madison students. East High School, Memorial, La Follette, Shabazz, all of these, and I'm gonna need help. We can't just do it by ourselves. So, vibe check? Awesome.
Wait. Let's get an endorsement. Wait. Okay, so she's looking for an endorsement for the alternative school in Madison to come support her when she needs it. Hopefully we can reach out to the Occupied Madison to help us to rally for her. The vibe check on that?
Yes.
Okay, statewide, is there any disagreement? Any discussion?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
It would be hard to get a ride there, so there's things that we can do like in our own cities that can help, like show solidarity. We can be like we can do walkouts at the last 5 minutes, etc. Things we can do here to help you there, and that could also work.
Yeah, it can. And I also work with ASO, which is Autonomous Solidarity Organization. We started as the Cuddle Puddle, and we were the people in the middle of the rotunda playing the drums, having fun, waking up at 7, getting the drums down there, cleaning up at 9, then going to bed at 1. So yes, and since I have that outlet, I can also maybe try and get buses to come down if it gets to that extent.
Thank you. So we have that endorsed on the state level. Then we're going to endorse the alternative school in Madison that needs our help. Shabazz, am I saying it correct? Shabazz. Okay, Tony, take it over.
Hello everybody, Tony from Occupy Fond du Lac. My voice is a little rough from that march. But I've got a simple endorsement. I don't think it'll take a lot of direct questions and conversations, but I'd like to endorse that all the occupied cities, Milwaukee, Madison, all the way from Green Bay to Waukesha County. We're not leaving the cities out, or the counties out. But if everybody from their occupied cities would take to their GA to see if they would be interested in hosting the next state General Assembly. Yeah, it would be an endorsement just to take it to your GA and we can communicate it out. The who, what, when, where, why obviously wouldn't be able to be talked about here because it would be really difficult when nobody's even endorsed it. But just to take to your GA and see if your city would like to host the next statewide General Assembly so that we can all get together and do this again. Keegan?
Can we get a tentative time frame as to when we sort of want to see, like 6, 8 months down the road when we want to see?
Yeah,
Within the next year.
I mean, we could do that. I mean, I don't know where the
date set, but
yes.
a sort of time frame.
I don't know where the beginning point would be. I think the beginning point would be to take it to your cities or counties GA to see if you're interested in hosting it, and then once we find a city that would like to host it, it would probably be up to that city for when they would do it. It's just a thought so that we can get this moving forward so that we can all do this again.
Go ahead and answer about them.
Can we get a vibe check on that?
There's a few more than us.
Anybody against it? So is that an endorsement?
That is an endorsement.
So yeah, Appleton, Green Bay, Madison, Milwaukee, Oshkosh. I think there's some people, I'm not sure if they're still here, but Manitowoc, Sheboygan, occupy the suburbs of Waukesha. Am I missing any cities? People that are here right now? It's just
Wisconsin Rapids.
Wisconsin Rapids. Just to take it to your city's GA and your county's GA, and just, I mean, we've got that Wisconsin group page now, and you know we can keep that running for communication reasons, and then maybe some of the cities like that would be interested in hosting it, we could start a conversation page and just take it from there. But I'd really like to see this done again. So, is there anybody against it? No. Is that an endorsement then?
Yep, officially endorsed.
Thank you.
My name is Scott Rodman. I'm from Fond du Lac. I think probably some of you you heard my story about Lois, a woman, 86-year-old woman from Appleton, who Chase Bank was chasing out of her house. And in the course of helping her, I went to Google to find Occupy Appleton, and I found the group and asked them to help with her case. And after I'd contacted them, they asked me to appear with some other people there at the public library to give an open forum about how to stop foreclosures, and help people who are in foreclosure. Since that time, just 2 nights ago, Brian Pfeiffer and myself had a program at the library in Fond du Lac. And we had about 30 people, which was just amazing for a library thing that we just had in the paper a week before. But it shows a tremendous interest in this subject, because the whole point is stay in your home, don't leave, just ride it out. You can stay there for a year or two. People don't know. Most of the people, there's no public discussion about it. Most people they hear about, oh, I haven't paid the last mortgage, they leave and they flee. And it doesn't have to be that way. We have to get the information out. So what I'm suggesting here is, wherever you're from, talk to your group, go to the public library, rent a room out for one night, and open it to the public, advertise it, get people in, and have a program. I will appear, as long as you're not too far away, and there are other people like from Appleton that are great people who know a lot about the subject that can do a lot. So that's my recommendation. I don't know if it's an endorsement or whatever it would be.
So what you want to do is
suggest to.
He's looking for a state endorsement if people have the means to go ahead to their library throughout the next year.
It's
and
easy to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he will help or try to find somebody to help to let the people know on what they can do in foreclosures and have a meeting, a teach-in about foreclosures. Vibe check? Anybody? Okay.
You should give out your name and anyone interested in watching later. Say that.
Okay, so this is officially endorsed. We're going to endorse him helping out in the state on foreclosures and having teach-in meetings, and he'll give out his name and how to get a hold of him.
Okay. My name is Scott Rodman. Scott Rodman. Anybody wants to talk to me, please ask. Okay. And then I have one more thing.
Sure.
This is the donations, and Tony, where are you, Tony? I don't know where he is. He's taken a lot of money out of his pocket to put this thing together, the food and everything. So I will personally take this around. I'm not going to try to embarrass you, but if you have something, try to give to help the Occupy Fund Luck, which did a great job in putting this all together. Tony, Thor, and all the other people who helped. And buy the bumper stickers. That goes for buy bumper stickers too.
Yes, my name is Donna Richards. I'm here in Fond du Lac, and I am not an official Occupy person yet, but I helped start the first Hunk for Peace that we had here for the last few years. So, long-term activist. I imagine that you're aware of this, but it'd be nice if Occupy jumped in on this one too. There's a group that's forming very quickly statewide called Wisdom 1115. Does anybody hear about that yet? Wisdom 1115, you have it. The 11 is cutting the prison population from 22,000 to 11,000 by the year 2015 in Wisconsin by getting the nonviolent prisoners out, decriminalizing a lot of things, defelonizing a lot of things, and keeping just prisons just for the issue of public safety, people who really have to be kept locked up for some awful reason. So a lot of the churches are involved in this already, and I'm sure you'll hear more, and it sounds like something that you guys already are talking about because you went over to the Sheriff's Department this morning. So I just thought it might be something you want to at least tune into. I guess that would be the first thing to do, tune into it and be a part of it if you choose to. So support the Wisdom 1115 movement to cut the prison population in Wisconsin in half by year 2015. Yes. Thank you.
Are you trying to have bumper stickers before they're gone? Okay. And I didn't hear the endorsement at all. So did you do it?
No, it was
Endorse the 11 by 15. Endorse the Wisdom 11 by 15 campaign.
Okay.
Reduce the prison population in half by 2015 in Wisconsin.
Reduce the prison population in half by 2015 in Wisconsin. Vibe check?
I didn't hear that.
It'll have to go to the state group that we're going to form. That's, yep, and they'll have to work on it and get back to the cities. That's how, yep.
And endorse the campaign that's in existence.
And endorse the campaign that's in existence.
It's called Wisdom 11 by 15.
Which is called Wisdom 11 by 15. Is there any disagreement? And any other questions? Okay, and Jenny is next.
Hi again. Occupy the Suburbs, Waukesha County. I'm actually doing a vibe check on behalf of another organizer that couldn't be here. Her name's Kim. And one of the things she's focusing on and helping us with in Occupy the Suburbs of Waukesha County is sustainability and kind of trying to get off grid and trying to teach our neighbors and our friends that live in an urban setting how to rely less and less on the system. One of her concerns is that as Occupy is concerned with our economic and government systems and the corporatocracy that we seem to have, or the corporatism that we seem to be seeing, we're still in an urban environment and we're very much a part of that system. So she just wanted me to kind of bring it to the state GA and see if there was a feel on whether or not Occupy was comfortable with going back to their own cities and maybe doing some teach-ins on how to become more self-sufficient, more sustainable, and trying to get more off-grid, whether it be a community garden or any other ideas that you might have. So if I check on that.
Grow the revolution.
Woohoo! Okay, is there... All right, is there any questions on that? All right, so we're officially endorsing going back to our occupied cities and our communities and working within our occupied cities. Yes, thank you. And I don't know the wording. What was the wording of that, Jenny?
Self-reliance, sustainability, and going off-grid.
Self-reliance, sustainability, and going off-grid. We've endorsed that as a state. Yay! I believe that is the end of anybody wanting to endorse anything. Is there... It's an open floor. We're waiting for OLB to come so we can just hang out. If anybody wants to come up here and hang out on the mic. I personally want to thank Occupy Fond du Lac.
Does that allow people to designate
There's what?
statue out there?
Yeah?
Does that allow that?
What are they doing?
Fuck at it.
That's chalk.
It doesn't make any difference. No, it don't. It makes a goddamn big difference.
We can make sure it's...
That.
We'll make sure it gets taken off right away.
Better make sure it gets taken care of. Huh? You don't.
Sir, this is a meeting.
Wash it off. Who put it on there? Wash it off.
Hey, this is a meeting.
It says fuck the police on it. Welcome to Fond du Lac.
Wow. All right. All right, let's handle this positively. This is a peace rally, everybody. If we could just handle this positively, please. Hey, hey, hey.
Go back to your bar. Go back to your bar. That's not very peaceful. No. You go right on stuff.
I'm weird. I don't want to go weird. I don't want to go
I said get off.
Saturday night festivities in Fond du Lac. I love it.
There's chalk on the statue.
When we went to the bathroom across the street, and there's individuals.
Wow.
20 shits.
All right. How y'all doing? All right. Good job. Occupy Fond du Lac security team. That's right. Chalk can be removed. Children dying can't. That's right. Okay, the goal of these individuals is to disrupt our meeting, so we're going to get back here, talk about the endorsements, get into some working groups, and talk about how we can move forward with some of these issues. All right.
Hey, you know that those guys were recall Walker supporters, though?
Well, yeah.
Is that record audio too?
Yeah, I got a microphone.
Nice. I've never seen it set up like that. I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Are you with the paper?
I do Wisconsin Confidential.
All right. Who here likes the banks? Does anybody here like the banks? No? All right. Now remember that chalk can be removed. The children's lives can't. You see. All right.
Well, I'm sure Jenny probably knows who you are.
On Facebook, I have US.
Get him off of here. We have permits. They don't.
Right.
Yeah, Mommy.
It says fucked up here.
All
right, so what's... Hey, Kelly. Kelly, what's the plan here? What's that? What are we doing?
I'm not
The
doing
plan
it.
is the Overpass Light Brigade can't present their lighting show until it's dusk, and they're going to be here at 6:30. I know they're going to speak for us, so I thought we could hang out and maybe hear some more of that music that's more peaceful. And get to know each other a little bit more and enjoy the rest of the day until the Overpass Light Brigade, and we'll end it in a bang. In a positive, peaceful bang. Yay! Go Wisconsin! Oh, whole bunch of food here. Roberta does not want to bring leftovers home. She made it very clear. So, fill up. And back to what I was saying, I was trying to thank Occupy Fond du Lac is what I was trying to do for all the hard work for putting this on. This was an amazing event. We got a lot accomplished as a state, and I thank everybody for their hard work that they do in their cities because it's so important. It is so important. Thanks.